Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com. I'm doing a tasting this evening for some lucky people at Greenfield Tennis Club, or is it Thames Valley Tennis Club? I don't know, but it's down the road. It's about 3 miles down the road, and I'm taking these wines along, but I thought I might as well try them with you lot first, even though they will try them before this ends up being uploaded. But hey, never mind. The idea is I've got 4 French wines, 4 Australian wines. We're tasting them in pairs and compare and contrast France and Australia. First pair I've got there's a Bordeaux Calvé's Semillon Sauvignon, and the Australian one is the Williams Mount Pleasant Elizabeth Semillon. So let's give them a whirl. Smell first. I mean, I'm on the 2009 Semillon Sauvignon from Calvé, and I stick my nose in there, and it smells like it's got this slightly guava, green gage, tinned pear character, what I call typical white Bordeaux character. Whereas when I get the McWilliams, let's have a sniff, classic toasty aged Hunter Semillon character. There is this creamy lime custard character. It smells like it's going to have a bit more depth, even though it's probably lower alcohol. Let's have a see. This one is 12%, and the Calvé is also 12%. So hey, horses for courses. Let's have a taste. So the Calvé is a nice, juicy, rounded, quite simple but honest, tasty wine. It feels like at the moment the Semillon is retreating into the background, and it's more that slightly, ever so slightly catty citrus edge of Sauvignon that's coming through, but the Semillon's just giving it a little bit more weight. Whereas with the McWilliams, classic Hunter Semillon, really is. There's this toastiness. It feels like you'd swore it had been in an oak barrel, but that toastiness just comes through with time. They pick it at levels of ripeness that some people would sort of look at and go, when are you picking that? But then over the course of time it develops. That's why it's pretty good of them to release it when it's got a chance to show at its best. So 2005 is the current vintage, 6 years old. Very tasty wine. I would say that the Australian walked that one. Let's see how they get on competing over Chardonnay. We've got a Chablis from Durup, Domaine Églantier, Le Carré de César. Carré just means square, so it's probably a bit of their vineyard that used to belong to someone called Caesar, maybe even Julius Caesar, who can tell. And the Australian competition is Sainsbury's Taste the Difference at Adelaide Hills Chardonnay, made by the team at Bridgewater Mill, which is same stable as Petaluma. Smell first. The Chablis has got that, what I call the classic wet wool, a bit of that lanolin, a bit of that creaminess, and there's like nutty character. Fruit-wise, it's in the apple, and yeah, the very ripe apple. A touch of the citrus in there, but it's funny. Chablis is one of those wines that almost, I suppose, like the Williams Semillon. It smells. It actually feels fatter than you have any right to believe from a wine that's made in such conditions. The Adelaide Hills one, this smells more correct, and there's a slight bruised apple character here. It smells like it's going to be nice, but it doesn't smell like it's going to be quite as complex as a Chablis. I may be wrong. Well, the Chablis got this richness. It's weird how the most northerly bit of Burgundy sometimes produces wines that have this character that comes across as rich and creamy, but then you're reminded of where it is in terms of the Burgundian geography by this backbone that keeps it fresh, stern. It's weird, this mix of creaminess and sternness. That's classic Chablis. Tension. Let's see whether there's tension in the Adelaide Hills one. And there's a bit of the tension there, but overall it feels like a rounder, more solid wine. I don't feel the sparkiness that there is in the Chablis. The Chablis has got that, yeah, as I say, that tension that looks really as if it's a wine that you want to linger over, whereas the Adelaide Hills one, you think, tasty now, what's next? Well, what's next is red. So I'll tip my glasses out and we'll move on. The next two, we are in Merlot-based wines. So I've got a Saint-Emilion, no Great Shake Saint-Emilion, Chateau Grave du Bert, so it's not... it sounds like Bert's grave. It means grave means gravel, so gravelly soil du Bert. So maybe someone called Bert has got a gravelly field there. And the other one, Cockfighter's Ghost, McLaren Vale Merlot. and Cockfighter's Ghost. It's to do with one of these. It's a highwayman story, which one day I will linger over a video and tell you, but trying to get 8 wines in, we're not going to get there. Anyway, I think the Grave du Bert has got about 15% Cabernet Franc in, but otherwise all Merlot. Give it a sniff. And there's a coolness about it. There's a cool, not herbal rather than herbaceous. It feels like there's going to be this black currant, ever so slight baked blackberry. If you ever make a crumble or something like that, and there's those bits that bake on round the edge, it's got that slight character about the fruit here. It smells, but then there's a coolness underpinning it all. It smells like it's going to be quite richly flavoured, but fresh. Cockfighter's Ghost. More on the jammy side. I get that ever so slightly confected character, and smells like it's going to be rich, but maybe not quite as complex. Let's taste them. Well, that feels like a young wine that it really needs to come out of its shell. There's a slight herbal greenness about it, which today it doesn't look great. It looks like there's a wine here that's wanting to develop and come out of its shell. I like its smoky edges. I like that bit of dark fruit. I'd like to see that in about a couple of years, and I think it's going to come out. It doesn't feel like it's got any of those hard edges that will never resolve. But yeah, slightly in two minds about that. Let's try the Cockfighters. On the plus sides, it's got this rich, ripe, rounded, plummy fruit. On the negative sides, it's gone into that jammy edge, and really not. I don't want jam in my wines. I want jam on my toast, but not in my wine. What I'm going to try and do, is blend the two together, because I think the two side by side will actually be for the benefit of both of them. I think I needed more of the Bert in there, because that jamminess in the Cockfighters does come through rather a lot. Let's see what the final pair's like. We're on Grenache base here. So we have got Peter Lehmann's 2006 Barossa Grenache. And the other one is the Cave Saint-Pierre Côte du Rhône Village Préférence, which it'll have other things in besides Grenache, and it's probably a bit of Syrah in there. Does it say? No, it doesn't say on the back, but I imagine it's 60-70% Grenache here. Let's taste that first, or smell that first. Sweet, rounded, ripe herbiness. It smells of hillsides and hillsides brush, and yeah, there's a bit of wildness there. It smells like it's going to be good, appetising, and yeah, rich but refreshing. The Lehmann, 2 years older, actually 2.5 years older, very pale in colour. And Jammy Dodgers. It really does smell of Jammy Dodger biscuits here. And good Jammy Dodger biscuits, well, it's sometimes I get in South Australian Grenache a mintiness. I don't get that here, but it smells like it might be on the slightly simple side. Hey, okay, the Cave Saint-Pierre has got this herbiness, and it's got this intense fruit, but there's more beyond the fruit. Yes, there's a wildness about it. Ever so slightly jammy, but not on the right side of jammy. It feels like it's ripe, lush, strawberries, blackberries, bit of very ripe plums there. What about the Lehmann? Much as the smell said, it's ever so slight Jammy Dodger character. Juicy, fresh, rounded and rich, but maybe a touch obvious. Tasty wine, but I think that in those two, the Cave Saint-Pierre shaded it. So, going back to those two Merlot ones, I'd give them equal billing. I'm not a great fan of either of them, but on the others, I think the Australia won the first round, France won the second and the fourth round. So, sorry Australia, but France beat you this time. But next time, hey, it might be different. See you soon.